Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we're going to be talking about Luke Skywalker, a filming update for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and more. As always my dear Mandalorians, before we dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post a new video. So without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to start with The Mandalorian. After the Luke Skywalker Mandalorian Season 2 gallery, it was very clear that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni understand just how carefully you have to tread when you're dealing with legacy characters, especially Luke Skywalker. They respected Mark Hamill's character and he was a big part of bringing Luke back using what they call the Egg, which uses de-aging deepfake technology. Now in light of the sensitivity that they had when approaching the character, it doesn't seem as though Luke is going to be recast. It's clear that the creators behind The Mandalorian respect Mark Hamill enough to not make such a decision. For a long time it was speculated that Sebastian Stan might fill in for future projects, and he even got the nod of approval from Mark Hamill on Twitter. But that doesn't seem like it's in the cards if Favreau has anything to say about it. Over the last day or so, a lot of media outlets have picked up on these hints in the Mandalorian Season 2 gallery, and quite simply the takeaway from the documentary is that Mark Hamill is, and forever will be, Luke Skywalker. Whether he's de-aged or deepfaked going forward, this ever-advancing technology is what they're going to use to bring him back in future seasons. This is backed by the fact that they recently hired the YouTuber Sharmuk, who's done multiple deepfakes not only of Luke, but also for Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One. This article from Screen Rant puts it best, so let's dive into it. Star Wars just proved Mandalorian could never have recast Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill's Luke appearing in The Mandalorian Season 2 was one of the biggest and best surprises of Disney Star Wars. The Jedi came to take Grogu away for training in a scene that simultaneously felt bigger than the show itself, and yet perfectly kept in line with the story. The fact that Mark Hamill returned as Luke via de-aging technology still feels remarkable and surreal. So too does the fact that Lucasfilm managed to prevent it from leaking alongside other casting news, such as Tamora Morrison's return as Boba Fett and Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. While it's true that some people did complain about the visuals of Luke's return, the emotion was perfect. It's very clear that it was worth the trade-off for what bringing back Mark Hamill meant, something made even more apparent by the recent second episode of Disney Gallery for The Mandalorian Season 2. The episode is a dive into what it took for Mark Hamill's return to happen, but also showcases the importance of it. Luke's return in The Mandalorian was simply amazing, and signified something so much bigger for Star Wars fans. This was Lucasfilm giving us what we wanted. A powerful and confident post-Return of the Jedi Luke doing justice to the character. The ultimate takeaway from all of this is that Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker, and regardless of potential similarities, nobody else can fill those shoes. It's clear that bringing Hamill back was hugely important to the show's creators, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Both of them speak with great reverence for the character and the actor, who really is the staple of the entire franchise. In a huge way, Mark Hamill helped to shape the character's return, and even if he wasn't the actor seen in the final product, especially in the action sequences with the body double Max Lloyd-Jones, this was not an imitation, this was Mark Hamill as Luke. This will be exactly the same if we see him in Season 3 and beyond. And the reason I say and beyond is because we could eventually get a Luke Skywalker series. The visuals and de-aging for Luke and Hamill were definitely impressive, and even though some might argue they weren't perfect, the emotion and feeling is. And in every measure, that is far more important. It's made even more special because it comes from Mark Hamill coming back to the franchise and giving his thumbs up to Favreau and Filoni for his character to return. So as I say, a recast is very, very doubtful, but you guys might have a different opinion, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's move on to our next article. So now my dear friends, we're going to talk about a big filming update for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Bespin Bulletin recently reported that the show had wrapped up filming. I covered that here on my channel as well, but recently Ewan McGregor was seen on set, meaning that filming is still going on, at least for the main cast. While actors like Joel Edgerton, Rupert Friend and Indira Varma all stated they were done, Hayden and Ewan are still filming a few scenes, and for all we know, they could be reshoots. Before I read this article, I want to give a huge shout out to Bespin Bulletin for the great work that they do and keeping fans excited for the upcoming projects. Their leaks are always valuable and reliable, so with that said, let's dive into their article. Exclusive: the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is still filming, more scenes to be filmed next week. And this is what they have to say. Hello there. You might remember 2 weeks ago I posted that many supporting cast members of Obi-Wan Kenobi had wrapped filming on the series, and this was an indication of the series winding down. This, along with the sets currently being constructed at the train yard location in California being for The Mandalorian, gave many indications of the Kenobi production slowing down. They go on to say, months ago I was personally told the Kenobi production would wrap up in August or September. This still appears to be the case, as 2 weekends ago I was told it was still the case. The day after my post on some supporting cast members wrapping, LRM Online reported that they heard the production had actually wrapped. Shortly after my post of cast members wrapping went live, 2 sources reached out and told me that filming was still going, but to expect it to wrap quite soon, ahead of the start of The Mandalorian Season 3 in September. There's been a lot of confusion on my side over the past week as to whether or not the series has actually wrapped. I was told that the second outdoor set from the TikTok video was getting taken down this week. The area is separate from the train yard location which we've mostly seen them film at, and they finished filming there in July. I've now been told by 2 more separate sources that Kenobi has been filming all this week and more scenes are being filmed next week, away from the 2 outdoor sets we knew about at Manhattan Beach Studios. And I will also say, when I was on a live stream with Star Wars Santa, we got an exclusive call from Making Star Wars, who was at the location, and he took a picture of Ewan McGregor in his car. The article finishes by saying, "I'm not saying LRM Online are wrong or calling them out. I've nothing but respect and admiration for those guys, and I too was under the impression that it might have wrapped until recently. I'm just reporting on what I was personally told by people I trust close to the production. You've got a very small amount of time left on Kenobi. Typically, we've always known when productions wrap. Usually somebody affiliated with the production reveals that they've wrapped. Most recently on the Book of Boba Fett, it was Fennec Shand herself, Ming-Na Wen, who confirmed the series had wrapped, and it was cinematographer Baz Edwan that confirmed the wrap of The Mandalorian second season. Last week we reported that Andor had wrapped, and just days later, Diego Luna arrived in Mexico, confirming our report. Keep an eye out, because I'm sure we'll be made aware once Kenobi wraps in the coming weeks. So basically guys, we can expect Obi-Wan Kenobi to finish filming in the next few weeks, maybe sometime in September. I will also say that we're waiting on Star Wars Newsnet to provide some more concept art and behind the scenes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which they promised would be published this week. As you guys are probably aware, which I did cover on my channel, a few days ago we had those concept art pictures of Hayden Christensen as Vader in the Bacta tank, and they did promise some more big news and pictures this week. And so finally, my dear friends, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian Season 3 and a very interesting article from Inverse. This one is about how The Mandalorian Season 3 could rewrite Star Wars history forever. In the wake of its second season, the biggest threat to Din Djarin is none other than Bo-Katan Kryze. After The Mandalorian Season 2 wrapped up, I made a few videos talking about this and how there's going to be more of a Mandalorian rivalry between the two. Season 3 is not going to be about Grogu and his story, but rather Mandalorian lore and how that applies to Din Djarin's story and personality going forward. Now that he's got the Darksaber off of Moff Gideon, and with Bo-Katan really wanting it bad, there could be massive implications. But going back to this article, they say Bo-Katan is the newest threat to Mando. To Bo-Katan, that weapon is her birthright, and the only thing standing between her and what she thinks she deserves is Din. Surprisingly, this conflict parallels a non-canon Mandalorian war, one that involves some exceedingly familiar faces. The clash between Bo-Katan and Din could be used as a metaphor for a similar Mandalorian civil war, not the one in the Clone Wars, nor the civil war shown in Rebels, but they're talking about an older non-canon war fought between the two factions of the Mandalorians. This Mandalorian civil war is the one that began with Justin Mariel's true Mandalorians, who believed that Mandalorian creed was more occupation than identity, believing that they should serve as honorable mercenaries and nothing else matters. They clashed against the Death Watch, who believed that the Mandalorians should be as merciless and savage as they originally were. Even though we might not see a civil war, as George Lucas said, it's like poetry, it rhymes. Bo-Katan represents one kind of Mandalorian, and Din Djarin represents another. Din and Bo-Katan are heading for a very similar ideological conflict. Din is a foundling, a practice started by the true Mandalorians, while Bo-Katan is a night owl. Even though Din Djarin has proven that he's more flexible with his beliefs as he once was, showing his face to Grogu, and again one episode before that during an emergency, so it will be interesting to see if Din Djarin has changed in terms of his beliefs and how he interprets being a Mandalorian. Is he going to pretend that he didn't show his face and just carry on as normal, or will he take a less traditionalist approach and be a little bit more like Bo-Katan? Only time will tell, but this is a very fascinating point going into season 3 next year. But what do you guys think of this, and what did you make of everything we spoke about in today's video? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Before I go, my dear Megalorians, I want to plug in the fact that I have some new merch. Apart from the wide array of t-shirts that you can get, which include the Dark Side Meg shirt, the Darth Plagueis quote shirt, my Mando shirts, and much more, I now have an exclusive Mega Mug, which comes in a variety of 15 colours. Use the code GIMMEMUG for 15% off the mugs as well as the entire merch store. The link is down there in the description down below, but otherwise, my dear friends, this is where we part ways. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.